Alright, I'm going to show you how to graph just from equations or from function rules. I'm going to show you how to graph these, and they're kind of crude graphs. They're not going to be exact just because we don't have all the information. So we're going to do the best that we can. So when we're doing them, what we really want to do is we want to find the zeros, and we want to look at the degree to see how many times it's changing direction. So when you're looking at a function rule, if it tells you this is the parent function of a quadratic, and you know that this parent function is going to look like this. So I'm going to ignore that. So the even number means that you have the graph is going in two different directions. I'm going to call this going down, and then it stops and it goes up. So this is two different directions. 1, 2. If you think of a linear equation, this is the parent function of a linear equation. It's going to look like this. This is going in one direction, so it's just going up, and that's it. So if you had to make a guess, if it was going cubed, your guess hopefully would say that it's going to go in three different directions. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and it's going to look like that. And 4 is going to go in 4 directions, etc. So the first thing that you want to label is you want to look at the degree. The degree is going to tell you how many different directions that you're going. This one's going to go 4, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you can remember just a linear and a quadratic, that'll help you know which direction it's pointing. So if you think about it, the quadratic, when it's positive, this is going on to infinity and on to infinity. So in other words, they're both, it's going up on both sides. So we want to think of this as starting at infinity and ending at infinity. That's really what we're looking at for our y values. Goes on to infinity, goes on to infinity. If it's negative, it's going to flip over. So if it's negative x squared, then it's going to look like this. So it's going from negative infinity to negative infinity. Okay? So for a positive quadratic, it continues on to infinity, it's facing up. For a negative quadratic, it continues on to negative infinity, it's facing down. The same thing's true about a positive linear equation. It continues on to infinity. It starts at negative infinity. Okay? Starts at negative infinity, continues on to infinity. If it's negative, it changes directions. So it starts at infinity and continues on to negative infinity. If you can remember these two rules, the other ones are going to be the exact same. So when a cubic is positive, it's an odd number, so it follows the same rules as the linear. So it starts at negative infinity and continues on to infinity. If it's negative, follows the same rule here. It starts at infinity, so it's going to be started up here. 1, 2, 3. And it's going to continue on to negative infinity. This is an even number, so it follows the same rule as quadratic. So it starts at infinity, continues on to infinity. If it's negative, starts at negative infinity and continues on to negative infinity. So that's what we're looking at, the end behavior. So we want to talk about the end behavior, which is kind of where it starts and where it finishes. So if I do f of x to the power equals x to the power of 19, this is an odd number, and it's positive. This is positive. The leading coefficient is 1. So this is positive, and this is an odd number. So it's going to follow the same as a linear, which means it's going to start at negative. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Continue on to positive infinity forever. So we have 19 different directions that we're traveling. Now this middle part is the part that we don't know so well right now. I'm going to show you actually in the next video how to do that.